The old countryside wind cut through the morning fog as a struggling single dad named Ethan pushed his rusty pickup down the dirt road, his hands trembling from cold and exhaustion. The engine had died miles back, leaving him dragging hope on 4 flat tires. His son's school fees were overdue, his rent notice was taped to the door, and he hadn't eaten since yesterday morning. Yet even in the chaos swallowing his life, when he saw a collapsed shed lying crushed under last night's storm on a small farm, he stopped. He didn't think about payment or time, he only saw someone in need. And so, with calloused hands and a heavy heart, he walked toward the broken structure, unaware that the farmer who owned it wasn't just some rural landowner, she was the quiet, humble owner of thousands of acres stretching farther than his eyes could ever see. If you believe kindness and second chances still matter in this world, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe to channel name. Your support helps stories like this reach more hearts. Ethan's life had been sliding downhill since the day his wife passed away 3 years earlier. Raising a 7-year-old boy alone had carved deep lines of fatigue across his face. Every penny went into school supplies, rent, or gas to look for work that never came. His construction skills were all he had left, but the big companies had laid off workers like him, and the small ones paid barely enough to survive. He lived quietly, humbly, never asking for help, but every night he prayed that something, anything, would give him one more chance to stand again. As he approached the damaged shed, he noticed an older farmer woman standing silently beside it. Her clothes were dusty from working the fields, her boots muddy, her hair tied back without care. She looked like any ordinary farmer fighting the same daily battles as everyone in the valley. Ethan greeted her with a tired smile and asked if she needed a hand. She studied him for a moment, noticing the worn-out clothes, the worry in his eyes, and the kind of exhaustion no sleep could cure. She didn't ask about his past, and he didn't offer it. He simply picked up a hammer and began rebuilding what the storm had taken down. Hours slipped into the afternoon as he worked without rest. The sun burned, the wood splintered against his palms, and sweat ran down his neck. But Ethan felt something he hadn't felt in months, a sense of purpose. With every nail he hammered, every board he lifted, it felt like he was building a piece of himself back together. He didn't know that the woman watching him, the owner of this small patch of land, was also quietly evaluating something much bigger, his heart. The farmer brought him water and quietly noticed how gently he handled the old shed beams, how he analyzed the structure before lifting a single tool, how he was clearly trained yet humble enough to work like a volunteer. She saw a man who didn't ask for anything, yet needed everything he was too proud to mention. She had met people her entire life, many who flattered her wealth when they knew her name, but this man had no idea who she really was. And that made every act of kindness from him shine even brighter. When the shed was finally rebuilt, stronger than before, Ethan stepped back and admired the finished work. It had taken all day, and he had no idea how he would get home, or how much trouble he'd be in when the landlord saw him returning late again. Still, there was a small, quiet satisfaction in his heart, something he hadn't felt in too long. He thanked the farmer for the water she had offered and prepared to leave, expecting nothing in return. But the farmer wasn't done with him. She asked if he had a job, and Ethan's silence was enough of an answer. She gently asked if he could help her fix a fence line the next morning. And after that, maybe build a tool rack. And perhaps repair her porch railings the following week. Ethan was confused but grateful. He didn't realize she was testing his reliability, his consistency, his character. And he certainly didn't know that each small repair was opening the door to something far larger, something that would change his life and his son's future. As days turned into weeks, Ethan kept returning to the farm. His son often played nearby while he worked, and the farmer watched with warm amusement as the boy ran through the fields with innocent laughter. Slowly, she became a grandmotherly presence in the child's life, and a steady beam of light in Ethan's darkness. But the single dad still believed he was doing odd jobs for a struggling small-time farmer barely scraping by, someone just like him. Until one morning, everything changed. Ethan arrived to find dozens of tractors rolling across the horizon, modern, expensive machines he had never seen on small farms before. Workers in company uniforms lined the fields, preparing for harvest on a scale he couldn't comprehend. Confused, he approached the farmer, and she finally revealed the truth. She owned nearly 8,000 acres of farmland, spread across the county. She was one of the region's biggest agricultural producers, known for disguising herself as an ordinary farmhand to stay close to the land she loved. Ethan's heart sank. He immediately feared he had overstepped, worked too casually, accepted too little pay, behaved too informally. But she placed a gentle hand on his shoulder and told him she had watched something far more valuable than skill. She had watched his character. She explained that most people treated her differently once they knew her wealth, but Ethan had only ever treated her with kindness, respect, and sincerity. She told him she needed someone she could trust to oversee repairs and improvements on all her properties. Someone who cared as much about the work as she did. Someone honest, steady, and hard-working. She offered him a full-time job, not just repairing sheds, but managing crews, supervising renovations across her thousands of acres, and earning a salary big enough to erase every worry he had carried for years. Ethan couldn't speak. He felt the weight of every sleepless night, every rejected job application, every sacrifice he had made for his son suddenly lift from his shoulders. For the first time since his wife's passing, he felt hope strong enough to bring tears to his eyes. His son, watching from a few feet away, saw his father cry for the first time, not from pain, but from overwhelming relief. If this story has touched your heart so far, please make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe to channel name. Your support keeps emotional stories like this alive. As the months passed, Ethan transformed into a man reborn. He arrived each morning with energy, determination, and gratitude. His son grew happier, healthier, and more carefree, knowing his father no longer carried the crushing weight of survival alone. The farmer became family, offering guidance, wisdom, and unconditional support. But Ethan never forgot where it all began. Not with luck. Not with money. But with a simple act of kindness on a stormy morning, when he stopped to help repair a broken shed with nothing in his pockets but everything in his heart. Before you reach the ending, take a moment and comment, "Kindness matters, if you believe good hearts still change the world." In the end, Ethan stood on the porch of the farmhouse one golden evening, watching his son play among the tall fields. The sun dipped low, painting the sky with orange hope. He felt peace, a feeling he thought he would never experience again. Life had tested him, broken him, and nearly drowned him, but kindness, both given and received, had saved him. The farmer walked up beside him and smiled, telling him she had always believed people like him were rare. People who helped without expecting. People who stayed humble even in hardship. People who deserved more than life had given them. And for the first time in years, Ethan finally believed that maybe, just maybe, he deserved happiness too. If this story moved you, please remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe to channel name. Your engagement helps this channel bring more emotional, inspiring stories to the world.